It's the final race of the weekend for the Euroformula Open Championship. The first meeting of the season comes to a conclusion with the second of our reverse grid races for the top six. This one taken from the results of qualifying. That puts Jose Garfias for the second time this weekend on reverse grid pole position ahead of the next 18 laps, or 30 minutes of racing, whichever comes first. And so, after the dramas we've had so far, Ed Pearson taking the win in race one yesterday, but this morning it was all about Yevon David, the Sri Lankan, taking his third Euroformula victory, and in quite impressive style too. We have the three-team battle between Nielsen Racing, Team Motorpark and BVM Racing as well. And I suppose the big question going into this one, after two stalls on the grid, can Timic Kahacek keep it on the straight and narrow off the line this time, because he stalled on the line from pole position in race one, stalled off the line from 8th earlier on today. That has really impacted his weekend, when we know he is one of the quickest drivers out there, despite not having quite as much testing time in this car as some of the others out there. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that one plays out. But Ed Pearson, race one winner, making his way over to his starting grid of 4th position. Nielsen Racing debuting here in the Euroformula Open Championship. This is their first ever single-seater campaign for the Sven Thompson-led outfit based in Corby, and they continued their trend yesterday after winning on debut in LMP3 and LMP2. They won on debut in the Euroformula Open Championship as well. Chris Stevens and George Morgan here in the commentary box for one last time in the Euroformula Open.
Yeah, certainly the last time here at the Algarve, Chris, that's for sure. And we've got Jose Garfias on the front row and joined by Michael Shin. Obviously, we know that Michael Shin has taken victories in the past, certainly no stranger to it. Has had his opportunities as well already in the first two races, especially the opening race that, of course, led to a little moment in the dying laps where Ed Pearson would step up and take over and take his first victory in single-seaters, and Nielsen Racing's very first victory in single-seaters as well. Also there, we just saw Diego De La Torre, who's been right at the thick of the action as well. The Mexican looking to go for podium success once more. Here is Ed Pearson, already a winner already. 2 podiums back-to-back after achieving a P3 in our last race. And here is race 2's victor, also a podium sitter in race 1 as well. Sri Lanka's very own lion, Yevon David, who will be looking for yet another victory here this time around. Has got every ability in the book to be able to achieve that too, but also this man has as well to achieve the first ever pole position of the 2025 season, granting BVM a huge opportunity for the title. But a couple of awry moments at the very start for Timic Kahacek have meant that he has not only forfeited that pole position, but also potential victories as well in other races. But no question on his pace. Rubens Barrichello with his son Fernando Barrichello looking to come back and has made some dazzling overtakes in his own right. Confidence might be a little bit low at the moment, but in time that will flourish. Vladislav Ryabov, who has also been a sensation. A lot of fans around this young man, including Motorpark, supporting Vladislav Ryabov's initial career here in the Euroformula, now with Giuseppe Mazzotti ahead of this campaign.
Worth remembering as well that 2 drivers go into this race with fresh tyres. It's Ed Pearson from 4th and Finn Green from the back of the grid in 11th position. That could make a huge difference at the end of 18 laps of racing. Pearson and Green only doing 1 run in qualifying, so that gives them the option for new tyres. And you can see the difference between Finn Green and Sean Rashid's tyres from the same stable there. So how is that going to affect things as we go racing for the final time this weekend? Let's take a look back at the highlights from what's happened so far. Race 1 saw Timic Kahacek not get off the line from pole position. Pearson darting to the other side of the track to go around him, but it was the 2 Motorpark teammates, Yevon David on the inside, Michael Shin on the outside. Very aggressive stuff from the South Korean racer to get into the lead, but he threw it away a few laps later with a spin into turn 1, and Pearson, who had fought his way back through the order, ended up taking the lead as a result of it. Nielsen Racing victorious on their debut in single-seaters, carrying on their campaign, their legacy from sports car racing as well. Race 2 This morning, unfortunately, saw more dramas for Kahacek as well as he stalled from 8th on the grid, but it was Jose Garfias who led away from the reverse grid pole position with Everett Stack and Yevon David in close proximity. David fought his way through on the inside, the Sri Lankan racer passing his American counterpart, and then this moment for Garfias opened up the door for Yevon David, almost opened up the door for Everett Stack as well, but it was for the third time in the Euroformula Open Championship, Yevon David who crossed the line first, his first of the season, Michael Shin having to settle for second on both occasions. So that means that Ed Pearson leads the championship by 1 point over Yevon David going into this final race of the weekend. Michael Shin in third after 2 second-place finishes. He's just 5 points back from the Briton. Fifo Barrichello up there in fourth as well. Timok Kahacek could be so much more were it not for those 2 stalls so far this weekend. But now we get ready for the final race of the weekend. 18 laps of racing yet to come. Let's run you through the order then for this race. It's Jose Garfias for the second time this weekend on reverse grid pole. Michael Shin, second in both races so far. He goes from second in this one. Diego De La Torre has been feisty from third position before. Ed Pearson on brand new tyres starts in fourth. Yevon David, race 2 winner, starts from 5th position. Timok Kahacek, can he get it off the line this time? From 6th position. Fernando Barrichello starting in 7th ahead of Vladislav Ryabov, just directly behind his BVM Racing teammate. Everett Stack from 9th position, and then the 2nd and 3rd Nielsen Racing cars lining up 10th and 11th, Sean Rashid and Finn Green, but the Breton there starting on new tyres as well as we get ready for the formation lap.
Yeah. We're about to get underway, and this is going to be down to the drivers to ensure that they get the right amount of temperature into that compound as well. The new Pirelli compound that has been made available for this year, which means that the drivers have to undertake a lot more management to ensure they get it to the end in the right fashion. Of course, that was essentially what led to Michael Shin being a little bit uncertain towards the bitter end. Obviously, not necessarily the nerves that got to him. It was more that the tyres got to him in a certain way, and coming through towards the first few corners on that final close, well, those closing few laps, he got undone by Ed Pearson, who managed to swoop on through to take the lead and eventual race win as well. But a brilliant start to life in the Euroformula for Nielsen Racing. And just on the subject of teams championships past and present, RP Motorsport currently holding all the cards in terms of most championships won as a team ever since the dawning of this championship when it first began back in 2009. 6 championships in their hands. Motor Park are on 4 at the moment. They are 2 away from equaling RP Motorsport's run. Of course, they do have Crypto Tower as part of the collective as well from years gone by, but obviously 2 separate entities. Motor Park 4 with Team Westech, who Sven Thompson, who runs Nielsen Racing, they went on to win a championship many years ago, and that was back in 2011, the same year as current GT Open driver Alex Fontana won the 2011 Euroformula Championship for Corpetta Competizione. And Cedars Motorsport also with 1 championship. Campos Racing also taking 1 themselves as well. So hopes are high, obviously, for Motor Park in order to try and equal RPM's record in Teams Championships. Of course, still a couple of seasons to go before they can achieve that. But Sven Thompson, with success at Westech, will only inspire the future of Nielsen Racing.
Was a mechanic for that team some years ago. Now here with his own team, a real full circle moment for the Corby-based outfit that has already had some success here in the Euroformula Open Championship, and a real passion project for Sven as well. So we look forward to seeing this 3-team battle once again here in this championship as the cars make their way around the final corner and getting the necessary heat into the Pirelli tyres, but there is going to be some management involved in that as well. There is going to be a lot of degradation, especially with the heat that has been beating down the Portuguese sun, searing into the Algarve circuit. I was out there on the grid for one of the races earlier, and it felt like my shoe was about to be melted into the asphalt itself. Lighting up the rear Pirellis there for Jose Garfias. He'll be starting on pole position. You can spot him, the blue helmet, the yellow trim on the halo. As well in that number 99 car. Went backwards in race 2, unfortunately, and has sort of been on the wrong side of the battles to benefit too terribly much. from it, but qualified 6th, so that gives him the reverse grid pole. Alongside him on the front row of the grid will be Michael Shin in that number 23 car, the red helmet for him. You can just see through the halo there. He's finished twice second in the races so far this weekend. Surely he'll be thinking, today I'm going to be the bride and not the bridesmaid. Watch out for Diego De La Torre. Ed Pearson, of course, starting on new tyres from 4th position. The final car is in place. We wait for the green flag to be waved at the back. And eventually Finn Green gets into position there, already poking out of his grid slot, actually. But the green flag is waved at the back. The lights go on, engine notes rise. Let's go out very quickly, and it is a stall for Ed Pearson this time. So Jose Garfias gets away well. It's Michael Shin challenging on the inside and taking a bit of grass there as well as he goes wide. Yevon David tries to find a way through on the inside as well, side by side between the teammates. But it's Michael Shin who leads. Lock up for Garfias going into turn 3, side by side with Yevon David through there. But it is Michael Shin, the South Korean, with a very aggressive move to take the lead.
Certainly was. Great start for Michael Shin. Dismay though for others further back, and indeed Ed Pearson getting caught napping as well off the line as well. So the first time he gets impacted with a stall off the line. Timet Kaharczyk also down in 7th place as they now order their way through, coming out of turn 5 and turn 6 and 7. Yevon David now side by side here with Jose Garfias on the climb up through towards turn 6, and Yevon David now back into second. A monstrous getaway here from the Sri Lankan superstar as they fly over the crest, and he could be in prospect of back-to-back race wins here at Portimao, but Michael Shin is next on his list.
Everett Stack was two-wheeling it out of turn 5. Timet Kaharczyk, having finally got a semi-decent start to this race, is now on his way side by side with Everett Stack there for 6th position. The Polish driver trying to find his way through. He's got his BVM Racing teammate right behind him as well, and that was almost like teamwork there with Kaharczyk opening up the door and Ryabov following him through as well, though didn't quite work out there for Ryabov. So he's still sitting behind the American. The cars file through the first at the final corner, and at the end of lap number 1, as Ryabov now comes out to poke out behind the back of Everett Stack's car. Michael Shin leads by 0.3 of a second to Yevon David, trying to go back to back here. A bit of a gap back to Jose Garfias, the reverse grid pole sitter. Diego De La Torre in 4th, Fernando Barrichello 5th, Timet Kaharczyk in 6th position, Everett Stack, Vladislav Ryabov, and then unfortunately it's the Nilsson Racing cars bringing up the rear. Finn Green, Sean Rashid and Ed Pearson after that stall.
Yeah, also Everett Stack working hard to try and gain a few places in his own right as well. They all peel over the crest once again, and now Yevon David hot on the heels of South Korean driver Michael Shin, side by side, back up the inside once again, this time from Kaharczyk, past Fernando Barrichello, as now he comes out of turn 5 up through turn 6. A wonderful move indeed by Kaharczyk. The urgency is clear. He is in the top 5, now chasing down after Mexican Diego De La Torre over 4th spot this time, but a little bit of a gap now to bring down before he can even think about making that approach into gaining yet another place. Michael Shin though still in front. Yevon David pulling off a grandiose display, 0.2 of a second now, dropping out to 4 as they cross the next timing line. Here's a replay from the start.
Absolutely incredible getaway, and yeah, so it's Kaharczyk this time who was compromised when Pearson didn't get off the line. And oh, look at that, you can see him fumbling around on the steering wheel trying to get it back underway again, and he has to reboot the car. He is going, but 23 seconds behind his teammate Finn Green in 10th position. And so it was the inverse of race 1, where Pearson had to dart around Kaharczyk. This time Kaharczyk had to dart around the stalled Ed Pearson. This is for the lead of the race now at the end of lap number 2. Yevon David darts out to the outside and onto the right-hand side of the track, the inside line for turn 1, and Yevon David takes the lead of the race away from Michael Shin.
Yeah, brilliant move there from Yevon David. Up ahead now of Michael Shin now as we have a little look from Diego De La Torre on Jose Garfias. The two Mexicans have been fighting together right through. Mentioned the Mexican standoff from race 2 earlier on this afternoon, or this morning I should say. Again, a wonderful display between these two now as they come together, battling it out here in the opening sector into sector 2 here at the Algarve circuit. Further back, Timet Kaharczyk and him. Vladislav Ryabov, who's still up there for dancing, purple in that first sector as well, and showing some great pace in the BVM. So hope here still for Giuseppe Mazzossi, and for good reason, because back comes Kaharczyk again. He is on the tail of Diego Della Torre as they come out of turn 8, and now over the crest through turn 9 in towards turn 10. Now rising back up again round this roller coaster circuit here at the Algarve. Reminder, of course, this track opened up 17 years ago and developed by the great Ricardo Pina, and the layout has existed, of course, since those years in 2008, and it has certainly hosted grand races such as those from the Formula One World Championship to boot as well. Here comes Kaharczyk once more. He knows how to make moves around here. He's done it before and is taking a tighter line here on Diego Della Torre as they look to cruise downhill, very nearly side by. Not quite enough as the nose gets pinched off before they then exit, coming out of turn 14 through towards turn 15. A great opportunity, though, lies in wait. Kaharczyk right on the tail of the fellow Dallara 324 chassis, opening up that Tom's TGE33 engine, and side by side they will race down through towards turn 1. Here comes Kaharczyk, the pole, looking now to move on up well and truly inside the top 5. Make that the top 4. Kaharczyk now looking to chase Jose Garfias. One Mexican down, one more to go.
This is all Kaharczyk has done all weekend long. It's just carve his way through the field. He just hasn't had any of the results to show for it because of all these difficult starts. And he's doing it again right now. But the prospect of a podium is now very much realistically in sight now for the man who started on pole position for race 1 yesterday. Pearson in clear air doing the fastest lap of the race, and you know, that's not a moot point, because he will get a bonus point for picking that one up. So 1:36.619 is still 2/10 away from the lap record here, but 15 laps to go, plenty of opportunities to try and make use of those fresh tyres aboard his car. It looked like Finn Green had a difficult start as well, because he was right behind there as well. So we're not going to see the impact of those new tyres really for either of those two cars, which is a shame. It's Yevon David stretching his legs out to the front of the field now, ahead of Michael Shin. Jose Garfias provisionally holding on to the podium place, but already Timothy Kaharczyk has reeled him in. He's closed up nearly half a second on this lap alone so far, and when they get to the timing line, it is nearly 6/10 quicker. He darted to the inside there, but no way through. Yeah,
very close. He was really quickening up down the straight, right on the tail, and BVM have done a remarkable job, obviously, in terms of the car this season. Of course, Francesco Simonazzi still prevalent part behind the scenes as well. Speaking of drivers behind the scenes, Nielsen with Ayrton Simmons in their pocket as well, working as a driver coach, also just helping the team in terms of their development through the course of the season. A very experienced head where it comes to the Euroformula Open Championship. Was a former driver for Double R, as well as driving for DriveX back in 2022 for a few appearances. And great to see him back here in this championship, working with some of the biggest, brightest stars coming through at the moment at junior single-seater level. And we'll definitely be looking to see where these drivers go in the future. Of course, many of the drivers coming from this series moving through into the realms of Formula 3, Formula 2, and of course Formula 1, where the likes of Carlos Sainz, of course, is currently occupying in the championship. Yuki Tsunoda, we've also seen as well, excelling in recent times, getting a prime drive at Red Bull these days as well, taking over from also former Euroformula driver Liam Lawson as well to boot too. So plenty of talents throwing in. Of course, we can include the likes in recent years of Noel Leon, Oliver Goethe, who are now representing in F2 as well. Just phenomenal scenes and great building blocks here with this Dallara chassis to build these drivers for the future in the realm of single-seaters.
Felipe Drogovic, too, a rather dominant champion, of course now Cadillac driver, and if you believe the rumours, a moot in for the Formula 1 seat there as well. And three-time IndyCar champion Alex Palou as well. So the roster is an incredibly strong one.
And Louis Foster.
As well, and Louis Foster as well. IndyCar debut for the Briton this year.
Also Drogovic, sorry to break that, 15 wins, the record of most wins in the Euroformula Open Championship.
That's most wins in a season, isn't it? It's 14.
14.
He's got that from 2018.
Oh.
Here comes the dive from Kamarczyk. No way was he going to get that stopped. Well, he sort of has, but back on the inside comes Jose Garfias and draws half a car length ahead. Kamarczyk will have the inside line when they get to turn 7. Side by side through here is always tricky. The BVM racing driver squeezes through. Now, I wonder if Garfias is going to be on the radio saying, well, he ran off the circuit, so that's the only reason he had the line through there.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see whether race control do intervene, but nonetheless, at the moment, it's Kamarczyk ahead of Jose Garfias, so it will be a podium at the moment. It could be the first one of the weekend as well for Timek Kamarczyk. Of course, we've had the status quo pretty much, where we've witnessed Yevon David as well as Michael Shin and also Ed Pearson for the majority. But after Ed Pearson's stall at the very start of the race, that spell has well and truly been broken unless something really drastic happens through the course of this race. Let's take a look at this again. A gigantic launch up the inside from Timek Kamarczyk. Of course, then ventured right off circuit, came in very hot into Tora Vip. We will wait and see whether he does have to give that place back. But Jose Garfias down into fourth, then a slight gap then Diego Della Torre only 3/10 behind Jose Garfias as it stands, so back in that fight against his fellow countrymen as they fly through the initial corners here in sector 1. Yevon David now 1.7 clear of Michael Shin, and we'll be interested to see how quickly Timek Kamarczyk, whether he can close up to Michael Shin in an effort for a better podium position. There's Yevon David now, race leader, and by the looks of it could be right on set to take him back-to-back race wins. Win number 2 in the Euroformula Open season of 2025. But not only that, it will be, if I'm not mistaken, his 4th overall.
Yeah, not bad for somebody who's done 2 rounds of the championship.
Remarkable,
You
really.
see why we were so excited about Yevon David joining the championship at the end of last year. It's been incredible stuff. So this is a swap between the 2 Nielsen Racing teammates, with Ed Pearson going through on Finn Green. So he's up into 10th position. The onboard camera, sadly not seeing much in this race, but did see that move on Finn Green. So next up the road for Pearson will be Sean Rashid, who's 2.4 up the road. I've got to see if it was all 3 Nielsen cars that ended up stalling off the line, because they're 17 seconds behind the rest of the field. I didn't think it was on the initial look, but if we get another replay, I'll double check that. So Michael Shin, they're in second position, so falling away from Yevon David with each passing lap. The gap now 2.2 seconds as they go over the line. Another 4/10 stretched in the Sri Lankans' advantage. Timek Kamarczyk also closing in. He was 2/10 quicker than Shin. Gap down to 2.4 in the battle for second position with 11 laps remaining. But of course, it was waiting to see if anything is going to happen with this Kamarczyk manoeuvre. The exit at turn 5 is not technically where they are monitoring track limits, but they still don't like it if you make a move by going off the track to do so.
I mean, obviously, the team managers get involved as well, so you do have to wait and see as to what could occur. So it might mean the complaint could come from elsewhere, but we'll wait and see. Last lap for Kamarczyk was a personal best and a 1:36.823, so really going to work at the moment, quicker than Michael Shin by around 3 or so tenths of a second, and clear also of Garfias further back, has actually gained a couple of tenths on him as well. So there is still an opportunity here for Timek Kamarczyk as it stands. 3rd place at the moment. Obviously, second would be better, and on trend at the moment for achieving a first podium of the season thus far. But you do have to wonder what could have been in many ways, especially given the fact that BAVM have been so successful here in the past here at Portimao, especially considering Simonazzi went on to take pole last season and a race victory as well to boot, as he did the season before.
Something occurred to me just now, because somebody said to me earlier, like, Michael Shin, when he went around the outside of Yevon David in lap 1 yesterday, that's a bit out of character for him, really. You know, he's not normally that aggressive behind the wheel. But we've seen that, and we've also seen Shin take to the grass on the start of this race as well, trying to get the lead of the race back again on Jose Garfias. So this might well be the new, slightly more aggressive Michael Shin that we're seeing this year. And as much as it's gaining in places, at the moment it's not gaining in wins. At the moment he remains Hugh Grant in 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Always the groomsman, never the groom.
Absolutely right. I mean, it could be the car as well. I mean, at the end of the day, we've heard many positive spells from the team bosses as well. I was speaking to Giuseppe Mazzotti, who, as I referred to in race 2, whilst obviously the results didn't necessarily go his way in race 1, and neither did they in race 2 either. There was still a lot of positives that he could take from it, knowing that his driver was fastest here at Portimao, and in the manner that he did it as well. Got a chance to talk to Timek earlier on as well, and he is also looking forward to Spa. So I think there's more in hand for BVM. We've seen enough from his pole venture at the very start of the campaign, but I just think some of the drivers are able to sort of, I don't want to say just let their hair down, because of course you need to be on point where it comes to driving these cars, but at the same time just unleash that little bit of extra creativity, that maneuverability, and at the same time unleash the power of this new Tom's engine as well. The brand new 324 is definitely taken to circuit racing like a duck to water in the Euroformula Open Championship, and it is delivering. A phenomenal start though for Yevon David this season thus far. Could be on the cusp, like I said. Back-to-back wins, win number 4 overall, win number 2 this season, and could be all the makings of a Sri Lankan champion.
Could well be, would certainly be the first. After he became the first Sri Lankan to win a major FIA competition. And he's got the whole country backing him as well. Of course, the colours of the Sri Lankan flag on his car. He proudly displays that flag on every podium as well. And of course, there was the event yesterday, the main sports bar in Colombo as well, with his partners at Merckstop organising a big watch-along.
He was really happy you said that, by the way.
I heard the cheers. I watched the video back there. The place seemed to go nuts when we mentioned that.
I caught up with Yevon earlier on.
I haven't seen him all weekend. I really must go and pop into the garage later. He somehow evaded me all weekend.
No, he said first of all, he said thank you to me, and I said no, the credit is Chris Stevens. He was the one who said it. So,
thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure. But Yevon David, top of the shop, and no doubt many supporters back home in Sri Lanka enjoying the feats that he has delivered as well, especially after race 2, and setting the tone for the season now. And it looks like it will not just be, of course, back-to-back wins, but also 3 in a row in terms of podiums here this far in these last 3 races. So in terms of podiums, 100% record, should he bring this home. We're only just at the halfway point now, however.
Absolutely. Does the 100% record stretch back to last year?
Well, I was going to say, because at Monza he did go on to take 2 victories.
He won 2 races. Did he win race 2 in... not win, but was he on the podium in race 2?
That's the big bold question.
Let's go and hang on. Let's research this real quick.
Yeah. We've had a stopper. That's Diego de la Torre, who has come to a standstill. The Mexican pulling over, and it looks like there is plenty of either steam smoke protruding from the airbox at the top of the car, and obviously coming to a standstill out here on, I believe that to be the main straight. Coming down through towards turn 1. Many of the cars only just coming out of the hairpin at turn 5. Through towards turn 6 as well, so I'd imagine that's where it is. Yellow flag, yes, coming out of turn 15, so that would be for him. So unfortunately for Diego de la Torre, in what has been really a fantastic weekend for him, in a sense of, being up there and fighting in amongst the top 6, as now a safety car is indeed deployed. So there we have it. The safety car has come out as we now ride on board here with Ed Pearson. Now, this is good news if you're Pearson and Finn Green as well, and also Sean Rashid. They've got an opportunity now to rejoin the tail end group, and also, the fact that they can give their tyres a breather, a massive opportunity for a turn in the fortunes.
It certainly is. So this is going to erode the 2.3 second advantage that Yevon David had. So there is just steam. Is that fluid coming out of the back of the car there? That didn't look like it was part of the livery. It almost looks like the fire extinguisher's gone off in the back of that car. Safety car's leading them through the
pit lane.
Through the pit lane.
Obviously closing it off just to make it safe for Diego de la Torre.
So the marshals can get across the track there as well. All cars will go through the pit lane there.
It's the second time we've had that this weekend, because of course it happened in the GT Cup Europe Championship, where we had the crash with Laura van den Hengel safety measures being observed.
Big smash into the pit wall there at the start of that race. So, a bit of a shrug of the shoulders. Not sure what he's supposed to be doing there.
Does look like there is some of the...
There's something that's
it's almost
come
like
out of the
dishwasher
bag.
fluid, almost, isn't it?
But that's what makes me think the fire extinguisher might have gone off. So, yeah, we'll hopefully get word of that at some point during the break before Spa, and we'll be able to fill you in then. Meanwhile, Yevon David does have a 100% podium.
There we go.
Third in race 2 in Monza, so it was all podiums then. 2 podiums so far this weekend, and so yeah, how many drivers can say they've done that? That's a pretty impressive stat to have.
Yeah, lengthy stint indeed for Yevon David. The mission now, though, is to bring it home, now to continue that record of continuing podium successes. But at the end of the day, should be doable. I mean, at the end of the day, he's at the front of the order. He will be effectively the safety car when we do get back running. But opportunities here as well for Timothée Kaharczyk. Bear in mind, he was quite a ways behind Michael Shin. Had a mountain to climb, obviously, after he passed Jose Garfias. But this has now opened the door wide open. A golden opportunity for the pole, who put it on pole yesterday morning.
This is going to be big pressure for Yevon David when we get back going. Timothée Kaharczyk has a wonderful opportunity here to salvage something from what has just been a weekend of missed opportunities at BVM Racing, and an opportunity here for Ed Pearson to get back into the fight as well. This is an opportunity for everyone to cool off those Pirelli tyres a little bit. I'm sure they've been put through their paces around this circuit. It's highly technical. There's a bit of lean on the front left tyre, but temperature-wise, I'm sure it's been a bit of a struggle as well with the hot asphalt bleeding through into the rubber. No sign of safety car lights off just yet, as they're still recovering Diego de la Torre's car, which, although he's not had podiums, as you say, it has been an impressive debut in the championship for the Mexican. Bearing in mind he's been involved in quite a few scraps, so his racecraft certainly isn't up for debate.
No, I mean, he's had a good weekend, and he's been certainly in the mix in terms of the top 4, top 5, top 6 at the very least, which is what's important. What this does mean, obviously, as we take more time under the safety car phase, that it does intensify the fact that we are going to have quite the sprint to the finish line later on. Obviously, as we cross the line, obviously 7 laps concluded, 7 laps obviously to go. We are going to have now 6 crossing the line. Obviously 7 if you include the one that we're currently on. But obviously, for Yevon David, defensive shields are going to have to be up there. You can see the truck now pulling the Dallara 324 chassis away, belonging to Diego de la Torre. Real sad way for the Mexican to end his weekend. Like I said, he's been stellar right through, given his absolute most. And I don't think this will be the best we've seen from him yet. I think there's going to be more to come in rounds that we will eventually see.
Absolutely. He will develop and get more confident with this car. So I fully expect him to start fighting for podiums pretty soon if this is where he's at the very first meeting of the season. So the Diego de la Torre car being towed away. There's some people taking the rare opportunity to photograph and film some cars coming through pit lane mid-race as well in such close proximity. So the cars head back out to pit lane. It will be a maximum then of 5 laps, won't it? If the safety car came in on this lap. And we do have to consider time as well, actually, because there's 7.5 minutes left on our clock. If we get one fairly lengthy safety car period, we do start to run down towards time. So that's going to be a little bit tight, I'd have thought, but
that's where the timer finish, though, comes into play, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
So, you know, over the general laps that we have witnessed, it could well be a little bit tight here to close out the finish, but we'll wait and see.
We'll keep an eye on it. In terms of the fastest laps, actually, I just noticed Yevon David and Michael Shin are actually very, very closely matched, 0.004 of a second in Michael Shin's favour. But of course, it's the average pace that has been in the Sri Lankan's favour. So, trying to maintain the heat in those Pirelli tyres. There is Kuba Gamarczyk. If you haven't joined us for all the races so far this weekend, Gamarczyk, having only got in this car for the first time a week ago in Mugello, arrived here and put it on pole position, having topped both free practice sessions. We were all thinking, what on earth is this kid going to be able to do for BVM Racing? It stalled off the line. And then all he could do was finish in 8th position after trying to fight his way back through the field. And then from 8th in race 2 yesterday, having scored that as his race 1 result, then stalled again. He's finally had a half-decent start, had to dart out of Ed Pearson's path when he stalled on the grid in this race, but now he's finally on course to get a potential podium. Can he take the win as the safety car is going to be coming in this lap? So at the moment, the story is Yevon David fighting for back-to-back victories after his race 2 win this morning. Michael Shin trying to turn 2 second-place finishes into a potential win. Timic Kaharczyk trying to salvage something from a weekend of missed opportunities. Can Jose Garfias get himself back onto the podium as well? Keep an eye out on Ed Pearson in 9th position as well, trying to utilise what is left of his fresh Pirelli rubber. And locking up there as drivers trying not to run into the back of each other, because Yevon David is leaving this very, very late indeed. He now puts his foot to the floor. Michael Shin will have the tow all the way down the start-finish straight. It'll be 5 laps to go for the final time this weekend in the Euroformula Open Championship, and Yevon David is having to utilise every trick in the book to try and keep Michael Shin at bay. He's been the groomsman, not the groom all weekend. Michael Shin, the new aggressive Michael Shin, goes round the outside, takes the lead of the race up on 2 wheels out of the runoff area though. Is that going to compromise him? Because Yevon David tries to come back through on the inside. A lunge from the Sri Lankan, and the lead changes hands once again. Meanwhile, Jose Garfias on the inside of Timic Kaharczyk for 3rd position as well. But FIFO Barrichello has stopped at the side of the road. I thought he was moving a bit slowly down the start and finish straight. We will likely go back under safety car.
We will likely. And Yevon David now going back past. Michael Shin was trying him down, coming down through towards the turn 5 section, but they're going to go wheel to wheel now as they creep uphill, heading out of turn 6, 7, now in towards turn 8. Yevon David holding firm. Kaharczyk in 3rd as well. And Vladislav Ryabov has crept into 4th ahead of Jose Garfias. So BVM with 2 cars in 3 and 4, and the safety car has come out again.
Can you believe it? No one's told Kaharczyk though, because he was lunging on the inside. Now he's seen the safety car boards. That was a cracking move from Ryabov right round the outside of Garfias. But, oh man, we're going to be denied a bit of a grandstand finish potentially here, because we've only got 4 minutes left on the clock. What a shame for Barrichello. So that's 2 Motorpark cars that have conked out here.
Yeah, it looks like they've come to a thunderous halt. Might have been the same affliction that we might have seen for Diego Della Torre, perhaps plaguing Fernando Barrichello as well. But again, it lines up in favour of Yevon David thus far, and obviously with only 5 laps of action still to go. The timer is currently showing 3 minutes and 30. This could very likely finish under the safety car as we continue around the track. So heartbreak for the likes of Timic Kaharczyk, who was coming in quick as well. Vladislav Ryabov, what an ending to his race here. Giuseppe Mazzotti, whilst obviously a win could have been there, they could have had yet something more, but will nonetheless come away with a car in 3rd and 4th. There will at least be 1 podium. FIFO Barrichello, obviously, very despondent, I am sure. It's been a tough opening weekend, but he will, I'm sure, learn and grow from this.
We are now officially running down to time, and something tells me we're not going to get this one back underway again with the pace of the safety car. They're going back through the pit lane again to avoid the stricken FIFO Barrichello car. It looks like it's only going to be 9 finishes in the end for this one. And this is great news, of course, for Yevon David. How important was that lunge back on the inside into turn 3?
Massive.
And but like I say again, Michael Shin, he is getting punchy with his overtakes now.
I mean, the launch around the outside was incredible. I mean, what tenacity to make a move like that. We saw something similar, of course, from Fernando Barrichello, actually, in race 1, when he was fighting his way back into P4, doing the double move, heading through turn 1 and managing to make it stick as well. It's very daunting and tricky to make it work around the outside, especially through the first corner.
So FIFO can't can't take the route he was planning to there to get back onto the
no entry over the pit wall.
Yeah, the step stall is not one I've seen before there, and I'm not surprised that Rubens was given a bit of a word there, and it's red flag. Now that's 1 minute 50 left on the clock, so I don't think this is going to get restarted. Yeah, red flag. Maybe they've done that so that we can get an ending to it. But for now, no, race will not restart. Yevon David is the winner of race 3 in the Euroformula Open Championship. It's back-to-back wins for the Sri Lankan. And he maintains his 100% podium record in the Euroformula Open Championship as well. Michael Shin, unfortunately, it is once again second position. Try as he might to take the lead away on that safety car restart. But actually, with the red flag, we would have counted back the laps anyway, so it wouldn't have made any difference. Timet Gahacek finally gets himself onto the podium, but we know it could have been so much more this weekend. Disappointment for Nilsson Racing in this one there. Maiden weekend in single-seater competition is a bit of a bitter close, but they still have some excellent memories. And the news has come to Yevon David. He's fist in the air, punching through. He knows he's just taken his 4th Euroformula race win. Yeah,
marvellous work indeed from Yevon David. That move coming through towards Tora Vip was absolutely, well, coming in towards Tora Vip out of turn 4 was absolutely vital to keep Michael Shin at bay. And Michael Shin proving to be the most consistent driver this weekend after taking second in all 3 races. And Timet Gahacek will celebrate, no doubt, a first podium of the season with also Jose Garfias 4th in our timing screen as well.
Yeah, so because they count back the laps for the red flag, that means that Ryabov's move there is undone, sadly, because it was such a mega move, but tis the regulations. So it's Garfias back to 4th and Vladislav Ryabov in 5th. Barrichello will still get credited as 7th, I believe. I need to double-check the regulations about whether bringing out the red flag causes you to be removed from the results, but I don't believe it does.
So I think it's 75% of the race being completed, which I think it might have been. So
yeah, but it's whether you've brought out the red flag or not, because he was the cause of it. But yeah, we'll see. He should still get the points for 7th there. Yevon David climbs out of his car for the 2nd time. This has been a good day for him because it's 2 races in a day and it's 2 wins for Yevon David. He moves into the lead of the championship after this first round. He'll go to Spa as the championship leader. And once again, it's fists in the air. The #1 spot for the man for Colombo. Anticlimactic, he says. Well, yeah, unfortunately.
Sometimes the best results are, but nonetheless, for him, 2 wins on the spin. And also continuing his 100% podium record here in the Euroformula Open Championship, celebrating with his team, Motor Park, who once again had a victory under their belt. Michael Shin, who has been fabulous on the attack this weekend. 2nd place is still decent and very much in this championship fight. Like I said, the most consistent driver across all 3 races this weekend as well at Portimao. But no question, Yevon David stamping down his championship potential and authority here at Portimao. I'm conversing with one of the members of the GT Open, GT Sport Organisation team, Pablo, in Parc Ferme.
Yeah, all being ushered in to be weighed. Michael Shin nearly forgot his gear to get weighed with. Of course, it all counts towards the weight. It's around about 5 kilos or so that ends up adding to the overall weight. Top 3 from race 3 for the first time in 2025. It's Timet Gahacek for BVM Racing. But what could have been in this weekend for the Polish driver? For the 3rd time this weekend, it's 2nd position for Michael Shin from Team Motor Park. He had an opportunity, but he couldn't quite hang on to the lead because Yevon David, for the 2nd time, back-to-back wins in the Euroformula Open Championship, his 4th in the championship and his 2nd of the weekend.
Yevon David, again, welcome back. Strange race. First part very interesting, very closely fought, and then a sort of surrealistic end.
Yeah, what can I say? Super, super happy. Really interesting race, 2 safety cars and a red flag, but on the first lap, went from P5 to P2, and then got my teammate Michael, and then just pulled away. Unfortunately, we had a safety car, and it was close, but got a good move, got a good restart, and managed the race, and we're here once again.
And it's all good for you and for the championship bid.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the best way to start the championship, and I'm glad all the hard work has paid off. Everyone back home in Sri Lanka and my family, really thanks to them. They've been supporting, so really, really good weekend.
Say something very, very short to your friends, family, fans in Sri Lanka.
Thank you, guys. Love you. Stuti.
Good.
Highlights then from the final race of the weekend. It was Jose Garfias who got off the line well to lead. Ed Pearson absolutely stranded on the grid from 4th. Michael Shin with the super aggressive move. 2 wheels on the grass to get on the inside. He ran out wide, but he still managed to take the lead. Yevon David snuck through on the inside to take 2nd position away very briefly from Jose Garfias. Ended up completing that move a little bit later on. Out of the Toro Vip hairpin at turn 5, they ran side by side, the 2 teammates going into turns 7 and 8, and then a super aggressive dart to the inside for Yevon David to take the lead of the race away from Michael Shin, who had to settle for 2nd once again. We saw side by side with Kahacek on the inside of Jose Garfias on his run towards the podium places, but then dramas for Diego De La Torre brought the safety car out. We got half a lap of racing in before Barrichello ground to a halt. In that time, the lead changed twice. In the end, the race being red flagged and no restart. That means that it is a 2nd victory today for Yevon David, his 4th in the championship. He maintains a 100% podium finishing record in the 2 rounds that he's competed in so far. Now we move to the podium, the Motorpark representative on the right-hand side there for BVM Racing, their first podium of the season. We keep saying what could have been this weekend for Timik Kahacek. I'm sure we'll find out in Spa.
Yeah, definitely, and a track is that's actually one of his favourites as well, so more of an incentive, but then it's a favourite for many, including Yevon David, I'm sure, as well as Michael Shin. Standing tall on the top step is Yevon David with the Sri Lankan flag, lion emblazed. Here's the national anthem.
The Sri Lanka national anthem for the 2nd time today. The Motorpark representative collects the winner's trophy for the winning team. First trophy of the season for Timik Kahacek. Very excited to see what this kid will do in the remaining races of the season. There's so much potential for him. Michael Shin, another 2nd place trophy. 2-time winner last year, but 3 times a 2nd place finisher this weekend. But for the 2nd time today, it will be the winner's trophy and the rookie trophy for Yevon David.
Yeah, good complete weekend. The only thing that would have been better is to make it a trio of victories, but I'm sure we'll have weekends of those to come on part of this talented young Sri Lankan. But all 3 standing up for a photo. And it won't be long before we go again once more.
Certainly not. Just a few weeks off before we are back at Spa-Francorchamps on the 17th and 18th of May for round 2 of the championship. So as the champagne flies from myself, Chris Stevens, and George Morgan, thank you very much for joining us this weekend. We'll see you at Spa.